I could tell something was going on. We're off. Again, if it's your first time watching, thanks for hanging out. I stream Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. CST whenever I'm working on commissions. You can check me out on Patreon. I have some other stuff on there. Patreon.com/minipaintingstudio. We also have a Facebook group you can feel free to join. It is the pinned post at the top of the Facebook page if you go ahead and click on the name. Make sure to like the page as well. Once we hit 1,000, which should happen today, hopefully, we'll have a contest, or not a contest, but just a straight up giveaway of a commission. So if you've been looking to get something painted, and if you've ever been interested in getting something painted yourself, feel free to hit the Get a Quote button. It'll give you a link to my website with all the pricing info, or you can just go there directly at minipainting.studio/pricing. You can check all that out. And if none of that is interesting to you, it's all good. Thanks for hanging out with us today. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to drop them in the chat, and I'll be able to try and answer them for you to the best that I can. And if I miss your comment, if you drop something in there and I don't see it, because Facebook's trying to hide it for whatever reason, I usually go back and read them all, so I'll answer it there if I can find it after the stream is over as well. All right. No, I don't put agitators in my paints at all. Never had the need to. So this was the first one, right? No, this was the first guy. All right, so you can see by the way it's drying, we are gonna get some really nice shadow transitions. I mean, it looks great. I think this wash is perfect for what we were trying to do, and then we can just apply white paint on top. Obviously, it's not dry yet, but you can see on that shoulder right there and across the chest plate, that's gonna dry with that perfect transition, mostly because of the amount of the quick wash mixing medium that we actually applied to it. So that way it's gonna be really heavy with the see-through resin. But I think this may be the method that I actually go for, so that means what I'll have to do before I really go any further with this is I'll message the client and I'll be like, hey, here's the deal. I have a much cleaner, better way of painting your Stormtroopers now that I have an airbrush. Would you mind if I paint them the new way and then repaint your other ones for free, you know? I mean, I would say yes if I were the client, you know? I mean, it's not a big deal. It would only take me a couple days anyway to... not even a couple days. I mean, you know, well, yeah, like 2 days probably just to sit down and do them. But I do want to see how these look when they're fully dry, because then what I can do is use the war paint mixing medium and a bright white, and then just go in and layer on edge highlights, and they'll be looking super crispy clean. Really nice. The other option, so I have two right now that are actually A-okay. Have we touched this guy yet? I don't think we've touched this guy yet, right? No. Okay, so we're gonna go in there. No, there's no blue. What you're seeing to make it look blue is the amount of quick shade that's mixed in there because it's milky. It's an optical illusion. Your eyes are playing trickerinos on you. anytime you use that quick wash or the quick shade, it's gonna lighten whatever color you've mixed it with, just because it's white. It's white resin. So that's why it looks blue. But there is no blue. Just black. Thanks everybody that liked the page today, getting me to 1,000. That's super awesome. I had been saying I was going to give away a $200 voucher, essentially. For large games, that's pretty great. Pretty good. Smaller games, smaller stuff. It's pretty awesome as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a thread and have everybody comment that wants to be entered. And that way I'll be able to tell who's done what, and we can get that rolling. Oh, missed a spot right there. Alright, so let's go back and look at the one that's drying for us here. Oh yeah, look at that. That's great. Very, very nice. And there are the darker areas where we did apply that first bit of pin lining, which I'll probably do anyway in those sections, like under the arms and everything, because it just makes sense. But now, going back over it with that pure white is going to make it look so crispy clean. Much easier than layering it up. You can see how smooth everything looks, right? Thanks to the airbrush. And then just applying a wash to get those colors. And that's about it. For these, I'm going to airbrush them, do a darker blue, and then a really bright light blue, because they're supposed to be like, you know, energy batons or whatever. Looks like I missed a small spot right here. Fix that. And that brush, whatever was on it, is hard as a needle. I don't know what that's about. There we go. Oh, I think it was varnish. Last night I was varnishing some stuff. I had another shipment of brushes come in yesterday, so I have like 300 paints. Alright. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Pretty nice, pretty nice. Totally dry. So I'm gonna let the other ones dry. What I need to do, trying to decide, I can airbrush over that, and then he's good to go. So I can just airbrush over our little mistake like it never happened, and then I can apply the wash. Before I go any further though, I do need to obviously ask the client if that's cool. I don't imagine him saying no for any reason. That wouldn't really make much sense to me, I guess. But you never know, man. Some people surprise you. So, but anyway, let's see what we can figure out what we can do here. I'd hate. Oh, do I still have some right now? I don't. All right. So what we're gonna do is just literally crank back the airbrush. We're gonna do it again. Do it again really quick. Enough people are watching. I'm not just gonna say goodbye just yet. So let's go ahead and mix this up. We're gonna switch over to the booth cam. Da-da-na-na-na-na-na, booth cam. Ooh. Booth cam. The camera's inverted. This is my right hand. Because the camera's actually upside down. I'm just having to wait for this to dry. Oh, I'm actually out of pressure. Hold on. Duh. So I'm just blowing air onto it to dry it. It isn't all the way covered yet. Alright. Now I'm just drying it by spraying air directly onto it so we don't have to wait. And then we'll be good to go. Alright, we're back. We're back. Alright. So let me hop over here. Bam. It's like that X never happened. Wow. Amazing. You can see it is still a little bit wet though. So we gotta chill a little bit there, but while we were doing that, all of these have now dried. You can see those perfect transitions that were made from that little wash, so they're looking pretty good. This one's still drying a little bit. This one's drying as well. Yeah, I don't know if you were able to hear me necessarily while I was in the booth, but no, that camera's actually flipped upside down, so everything's inverted. Let me adjust this camera really quick too. It looks like the exposure's down one, so hold on. There we go. Now those ugly lines are gone. Alright. Let me just drop these all over the place. Alright, so it does look like though, is that dry? That's dry. So I'm gonna need to mix up a little bit more of this. And by a little bit more, sadly, it's gonna be quite a bit just because of how much of the medium we need to mix. That's alright. As you can see here, what we're dealing with. And hopefully this is the same consistency. It's always a little bit tricky. It looks like it's the same though. Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. If it's your first time watching, feel free to say hello in the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. I know yesterday I had a bunch of people from all over the world when I was working on the Shadespire stuff. According to the analytics, the most people were from London, which is pretty cool. That always seems to happen though anytime I stream anything Games Workshop. Which I haven't really been doing much of, so that's kind of interesting, because like I personally collect Warhammer stuff, so that's kind of my game of choice or company of choice on that end, but I never really do much of any of that on stream, so it's kind of funny. Just trying to smooth that out with the side of the brush. Alright, so this one should be good to go and dry as well, just like the other ones. Now I'm just going to check and see if I missed a spot on any of these dudes. Go ahead and shade the backboard a little bit more. think since we also just hit 1,000 followers, I'm gonna run a commission promo as well. I don't know exactly what the discount will be, but I'll figure out something. If you're looking to get a commission done or anything painted yourself, make sure to hit the Get a Quote button on the Facebook page, and you can see the pricing, or you can go directly to minipainting.studio/pricing. Oh, thanks, Jeremy. Thank you so much for coming in and taking the time out of your day to leave such constructive comments. I hope you have a great rest of your day as well. I always wonder to myself why people like Jeremy do the things they do. You know, like who hurt them, who made them the type of person they are today. But it's alright. The internet's an interesting place. It's always interesting, too. I could probably guess. Let me see. Yeah, we're at 60 people. Anytime we get over, like, 50 active or 70 active, there's always some kind of troll that comes in. Which is totally fine. They can have their fun. That's cool. Alright, so we're really just waiting on those to dry, and we can move back up. Exactly, Greg. I agree, buddy. But yeah, these are looking pretty good, at least for the shade step. Alright, so we can go ahead and get started, though, with the white. I think I'm actually going to do it in one of the medicine cups, just so that I can sort of control it better. So we're going to put in the quick shade. Unfortunately, the white that I have, like, both of them are really thick, but you can see right there. So it's pretty much 50-50. I may actually put in some flow improver as well. Yeah, I'm gonna do some flow improver. Airbrush, flow improver, that is. So Rich, to answer your question, before I did airbrushing, depending on the models, I would either use a deep taupe acrylic. So we would do that on, like, nothing metal or anything like that. But then otherwise, I would just use Vallejo. And then now that I use the airbrush all the time, we just use Vallejo as well. I always use a gray. That always helps. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and ban Jeremy off the page forever since he's a literal loser. So there we go. Have fun with your life, Jeremy. Thanks, Jacob. Alright, so I don't know if this is thin enough. I need to throw on another glove. Usually I just go through one a day. Today's gonna be one of those days where I go through like 5, but it's alright. Buy it all in bulk. Alright, so let's do the glove test here. See what we're looking at. You know, I still don't think it's thin enough. I need to add water. I always look for like a skim milk consistency. There we go. Now we're rocking. Perfect. So now it's acting more like a wash, which is traditionally what I go for on stuff like that. All right. Okay, so I'll start doing some highlights here. Now the real trick is going to be doing it out of the actual medicine cup rather than a palette, but we'll figure that out. Let me hop over here so I can see your what you guys are looking at. Okay, so who should we start with first? Let's start with this dude. I know we're going to be doing a lot of wiping on my thumb here, just to keep it nice and clean. Or the brush tip, I should say. So Jason, it was literally the dark tone by Army Painter and white. That's it. Or, well, not the shade, but we've only used one color this entire miniature. And now we're just working on the highlights to white, which are really just going to be edge highlights. And I say that as I like completely fill in the chest plate, but the chest plate should, you know, do that in terms of highlighting and everything. But you can see this is a really fast process. The paint that we're using is drying pretty quick. And we're really only doing one layer to highlight it all up. And what's interesting too is that like this is just a tabletop level commission, so this is my lowest paint quality, so to speak. But because of the because it's one color, and because of the technique applied, it looks really badass, right? But this is, you know, the cheapest quality, lowest quality that people can get is what I'm working with right now. But that being said, I always like to over-deliver. So like if you actually look at the pricing page that I have, where I kind of describe the techniques that I'm going to use whenever I do the lower level commissions, I always go above that. I always think it pays to over-deliver. People are happy that way. Get a little bit more than they're expecting. But it is kind of funny, because like this looks way more, obviously, than just a simple tabletop, but it's just because of the method. We're able to make it look real nice without trying super hard. Kind of like yesterday, too, when we were working on the Shadespire stuff, like, they look really nice, but it's only because we were able to do some really simple techniques on them. Make them look good. The real question though is how long we're gonna spend on making these look good, but hopefully I'm able to just keep cranking. But you can see that whole half of his body's done. I think it looks really nice and clean. Let's see. James asked, have I done any of the Soda Pop figures? The answer is yes. I just don't have them in front of me right now. Or not the actual Soda Pop, but I've done like chibi stuff before from Arcadia Quest and things like that. If that's what you're meaning, like the Super Dungeon Explorer style. Okay. Jacob, did you actually take lessons for painting or go to school? I don't have the focus, blah, 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 self-taught. So I've been doing this for like 18 years, but I also went to college for studio art. So I have like traditional fine art experience. I myself do art shows and stuff like that, digital illustration a couple times a year. I also take commissions doing illustration work. I just don't talk about it here on the channel. Or the page, rather. But all of this stuff was self-taught. I mean, I started doing miniature painting before YouTube was really a thing. Like nowadays, if you're learning to paint, it's great. There are tons of people out there that have great YouTube tutorials, things like that. People that live stream can answer questions, so it's not that hard to pick up on techniques and tips. Really great Facebook groups, things like that, but back when I was younger, it was just kind of like, all right, man, good luck. Here's some paint. Figure out what you can do. Whoop. Got too much in there. James, if you actually look on the page under the video section, you can see a couple of videos where I worked on them. They weren't for a commission, they were just my own Arcadia Quest minis, but I figured they would be a nice little break. I think at the time I didn't have very many commissions, so I just painted them to get some exposure on the stream, which always is a good thing. They're fun to paint. The type of detail they have, like the smoother surfaces, things like that, you can really achieve some nice paint jobs. But sometimes too, painting smooth surfaces can actually be way more difficult than stuff with texture, so it just kind of depends on the mini. Didn't like the way that went on there, so we're just gonna wipe it off. Alright, so I'm thinking that's pretty good. Still get the shadow on there in the places where we want the shadows. You get the crisp bright white wherever we want the bright white. Looks nice. It definitely is way cleaner than the method that I had before. But, I mean, that was all just hand layering rather than being able to do an application with the airbrush like that. To do a little bit of pre-shading. So, you know, you do the best you can with what you got at the time, which is definitely what I was doing. On the top of the dome here, we're just gonna slap it on, whoop! We're gonna slap it on kind of thick so that it dries really smooth. And we get good coverage. Like so. There we go. So, top of the head's good to go. Now we just need to figure out the shield arm situation. Yeah, if you're planning on picking up Star Wars Legion, a method like this, obviously, is really great if you're going to be painting up a bunch of Stormtroopers or you want to collect the Empire more so than the Rebels. Or if painting white is intimidating and you don't want to deal with it, you could always do them like I know there are like black Stormtrooper. I mean, I know technically they're like different types of Stormtroopers, but you can always theme your army a different way. And those miniatures should be easier to paint because they're a little bit bigger than, well, they are bigger than like every other company. Which I thought was a little bit weird when they made that announcement that they were 35 mil. It's like even the biggest dudes are 32. So they're bigger than the Imperial Assault, so you can't use both, which is an obvious marketing ploy by them to force more purchases, but that's cool. That's cool. They're running a business. I get it. I get it. Gotta make money somehow. Alright, so let's figure out our shield situation here. I don't want to touch the top of his head yet, it's still wet, but I kind of need to get to that part to hold him correctly. Oh, well, I guess we could use this. That's why I bought it. There we go. Use the tools you have, right? That's why you buy them. Find the transition from black to white too harsh because that says the theory. I don't know what you mean by that. I literally don't know what you're saying. We didn't go from black to white. they were white to begin with, so I don't know exactly where you're getting that. So, because they all started white. I would never paint black to white. That's just a terrible idea. You're gonna work way too hard to do that. Just making sure the left and the right side. Actually, I mean, we could leave. All right, we'll make it look real realistic. We'll leave that front shaded and that side white. So he's, you know, he's tilting it that direction. So it's like the lighting. And then the only other thing we need to do is hit the top really quick. Feather that out. Easy peasy. Do this part on top. Easy peasy. All right. He's donezo, man. Obviously not with like any random details. Well, they're not a black wash though. Like you have to remember that the white balance on this camera is set to increase contrast, otherwise you wouldn't be able to see certain things. So this is actually more of a gray wash. But hey, that's fine. I look forward to seeing your painted Stormtroopers after the chat. Make sure you send them to me. So we're just going to be doing the exact same thing we did on the last one. Yeah, no, I mean, if you are telling me how I should paint these, I definitely want to see the way you painted them, Carol. I'm just giving Carol a hard time if you're just now watching. He's in here like every day, so I'm not just being a dick. He's in here every day. It's all good. But, Carol, you also know I don't give free advice. That's what the Patreon's for. So these will go a little bit faster. What I always find interesting the first time you paint, well, these are all the same sculpt, which is nice, so obviously the more times you paint each sculpt, faster it's going to be. But anytime you do that, so like since that was the first time I was layering up that other one, it's going to take a little bit longer. But now that we've done one, the rest are going to be a lot faster. So it's kind of weird how that works, but it's usually how it goes. So again, we're using a loaded brush technique, so that way I can just work the pigment around. You'll notice that the brush doesn't actually come off of the miniature that often. It's because what I'm doing is applying essentially a small pool of the paint and then pushing it around so that it tapers off. And that way you can kind of control like where the actual paint is going. And I did see somebody just commented on the post. If you have a comment, make sure that you want me to see at least. Make sure you leave it in the chat. And that way I'll be able to answer if it's a question or anything like that. You can always feel free to ask questions. We did just open up a Facebook group. I know some of the people from Patreon are helping. So but there's already a private Facebook group for the Patreon patrons that pay at a certain level. And it's like, you know, advice back and forth, things like that. I do live streaming events there, live paint-alongs, stuff like that. But we do now have a public group if you're interested in joining that. It's the pinned post at the top of the Facebook page. The Mini Painting Studio Squad, and that's pretty much just a painting group. I know there are a million painting groups out there, but all like-minded people giving each other advice, things like that, show what they're working on. You can check out the Patreon stuff too at patreon.com/minipaintingstudio. You can see that little blurb in the bottom right hand of the frame. Has that info on there too. But that's obviously not a big deal. That's more if you yourself are a painter, interested in some stuff that I have to offer there. Or if you've ever thought about learning to paint, it's definitely not hard. Just takes patience and practice. And as always, if you need something painted, feel free to hit me up. You can hit the Get a Quote button on the top of the Facebook page. Or you can go to minipainting.studio/pricing for all that info. And if that has nothing to do with you at all, thanks for hanging out. Always appreciate people hanging out. Good vibes. Even though we had 2 trolls hop in today, it's no big deal. They just get permanently banned from ever being able to find the page again, so we can talk our trash with them for about 2 minutes and then they just disappear into the empty void of the universe, so. Oh, and we hit 1,000 today. So, we hit 1,000 today. Big, huge thank yous. I'm going to be running a discount special on commission, so if you are interested in getting something painted, hit me up now, and that way I'll be able to give you the discount quote immediately once I figure out the number. And then I'm also going to be raffling off a free commission, so what I'm going to do is make a Facebook post. Everybody can comment underneath there. That's how you enter. I've been saying it's going to be $200 worth of free painting. Let's make it $225. So we'll do $225 voucher. For those of you that don't really know what that can get painted, if you're going to do a tabletop level commission, that is around the price of getting a game like Scythe painted. Or if you have something, and that's just tabletop level, or if you had another game that you wanted to look really awesome, you could use that $225 credit and apply it to an even better commission. Better in terms of, you know, my heroic level, display level, whatever you have laying around. You can gift it to somebody, you can do whatever you want. But that being said, we'll be doing that here as soon as I am done with this stream today. I'll put the post up, so make sure you watch out for that, and then I'll promote it. Probably, we'll let it go for a week, so we'll do it on next Wednesdays whenever we'll decide the winner. That way people will have plenty of time to hear about it, post on it, get all that kinds of stuff, so just make sure you look out for that today after the stream. I'll post it immediately after we're done. Clients will have to pay for shipping. That's mostly because you're sort of responsible for the packing materials of whatever you're sending me. But that'll be the only cost to you out of the $225 credit. Which is pretty substantial. Alright, so we're almost done with this guy. Same thing as last time. Now we're moving on to the shield, figuring out our highlights there. Looks like I did miss a spot with the wash, but I still have some right here. Actually. There we go. Let me double check the rest of these. That's actually a spot I noticed the last time. Alright, we're good. How long have we been going? Wow, we've been going for an hour and 30 already. My oh my. Almost time to stop, but since it's usually tied to how long I record, I do re-upload all the videos in 1080p to Facebook once or twice a week. Or to Facebook. To YouTube. Sorry, my bad. So you can always check YouTube, Mini Painting Studio. You can find my stuff there as well. But I normally keep streams to an hour and a half. But since I forgot to hit record at the beginning, of course, we're going to keep going for about another 30 or so. Again, we're doing a loaded brush, so I'm essentially smearing around. I mean, that's probably not the best word. Pushing around is probably more appropriate. The actual pigment, but that way I can kind of control as thin as it needs to be in certain areas. Give me 1 minute, because someone keeps blowing my phone up. And if it's the same person sending me a bunch of messages, just stop and wait, because you already know I'm busy. But we'll see. What's going on here? What is this? Okay. Oh, that was not what I was expecting. Oh my god. You look crazy. Okay, alright, right on. Cool. Alright. I have a friend that's running for mayor in a city, and he just like sent me I was not expecting to see that. That's hilarious. Alright. I need to clean out my brush, first of all. I haven't cleaned it out in over an hour. Okay. Let's finish up what we're working on. Do the top of his head. Oh, there's a bunch of water on there. Whoa, we almost messed that up. So I'm essentially applying this really thick and then feathering it out on the edges. So that way we get a really crisp and clean top on top of the helmet. And then of course I can't touch the top of the helmet. Alright. Let's do this shield and we'll be done. Then we have 2 left. So just feathering that out at the bottom, it'll dry with that transition on there. Same way this one did. So you can't actually see the brush strokes when it dries, which is really nice, but it just looks really faint shadow there. All right, so before we get cracking on the 3rd here, let's see. Let me double check my comments too, because I know it was freezing them on me. Because I know I missed some stuff. Oh, I definitely missed stuff. Let me see. All right, so Steve asked, this is all layers and no washes? No, it's all washes, 1 layer. So, highlights done in white after a wash, another wash applied, highlights through an airbrush, and then the rest just layered on really thin. Yeah, you guys missed the trolls. We got rid of them really quick. It was really weird. He just kept saying, stay mad. And then he called me fake Uncle Phil because I tried to troll him back by saying, who hurt him? Who made him that way? But I think Mark's been, I know Mark and Chris have probably been in here before when there have been other trolls, and you know how I talk to them. So it's pretty funny. Okay. But anyway, all right, let me look. All right, so we have 45 people watching. I hate to break on you. 50 people watching. I hate to break on you like that, but I always take a break after about an hour just so I can stretch, move around, get a drink. Scott, I know you just asked me this, so you missed the first part. How did I get the dirty white look? Well, I applied a really thin dark gray wash that we made out of Dark Tone by the Army Painter and a lot of the Quick Shade Wash Mixing Medium. That's how we did that one. But anyway, so I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break or so. I'm going to go walk around, stretch my back, and then I will be back. We'll knock out the last 2, maybe the last one, actually, to get that hour and 30 recorded mark. And that'll be it. Make sure you hit like on the page. We're going to be giving away a free commission and running a special since we had 1,000 likes today, and I will be right back, y'all. Alright, we're back. We're back, we're back, we're back. Let's knock this out. We're gonna go speed mode here, go as fast as we can. We're gonna be extra sloppy. We're gonna be crazy. What's up, Alex McKenzie? Send me those exposure tokens for free work. Alright, so let's get slamming on here like a couple Bradberries. For those of you just now joining, actually, let me remix this really quick. Sorry. Make sure we're dealing with the right consistency. All right, cool. So if you're just now joining, all we've done is airbrushed white, applied a wash. Wait, is that right? Yeah, we airbrushed it white, applied a wash, airbrushed it again, applied a wash, and now we're doing final highlights. Why am I doing the shield? We always save the shield for last. You can tell I'm losing my mind here, but we're just gonna go fast and paint whatever is in front of us first. I don't know why I was doing it the order I was doing it in the first place, but we're just gonna keep it cranking here. Oh wow, this song is cracking me up. They're gonna show the way. Show me the way. Shout out to the terrible Ugandan Knuckles meme. I sort of want to paint an army like Tide Pods. I think that'd be a really good color scheme. Do some Tide Pod Space Marines. That'd be pretty chill. Alright, let's keep it going here. Uh-oh. There we go. Got a little bit in the armpit area there. I didn't mean to. The white that we're using right now is pretty much like a glaze. Except not, I don't know, it's really, if you've never used the Army Painter Quick Shade Wash Wixing with wheel, if you've never used the Army Painter Tongue Twister Quick Shade Wash Mixing Medium, there we go, it's really hard to describe. If you mix it with pigment, you still retain the pigment of the paint, but you can move it around like a wash or a glaze. Really magical stuff. Everybody knows the day I got it in the mail, if you've been watching my streams for a while, I immediately ordered 7 more bottles. Have I gone through those 7 bottles? No. Have I ordered more already? Yes. So that should tell you, I just know that I'm like a doomsday prepper with some painting stuff. Like, I never want to be in a position where I'm working on a commission. I'm like, all right, time to mix up more, and then I'm out. There's nothing I can do about it. Slight nightmare scenario, stuff like that goes on.
hot today. Whoa, it's hot out here, man. It is hot today.
You know it's hot out.
Yeah, I just said that. I said it's hot out here, man.
Yeah, you know it's hot, too.
Yeah, that's why I said it, man. It is hot out here.
All right, going well. Let me update this real quick. It's like slow cooking, just different. Yeah. Unfortunately, there's no crock pot for cooking miniatures, because that would be great. Well, actually, I take that back. If you consider, like, people that do, like, min wax painting, where you just, like, dip the whole miniature in wax and then let it dry. Or, like, the polyurethane wax, or the Army Painter Quick Shade that comes in the big paint cans. It's kind of like slow cooking, or like a crock pot where you can just set it and forget it type of deal. Obviously, results may vary. But yeah, sadly, I mean, there are always a few ways you can skin a cat when it comes to painting miniatures, but with white, if you're trying to do shades and highlights and things like that, I mean, there's only so much you can do to a miniature, or to the paint, I should say, rather. No matter what, you're gonna end up doing layering at some point. Unless, like, what we were... I mean, the beginning of this stream, I didn't really know the best method to get this done, because I knew I wanted to use the airbrush. Because when I did this for the client last time, I did not have the airbrush, so I couldn't just slam on white paint super easily like we did. But we started off trying to do pin work or line work around the edges, and that was literally gonna drive me insane, so I'm glad we figured out the best way to get it done. I think it's looking pretty good right now, so hopefully, client's happy. I mean, I'm sure he will be. All 5-star review. No losses. I'm like the big baller brand of painting. Never lost. Except I'm not obnoxious like LeVar Ball. Alright, so it looks like the back is good, looks like the side is good, looks like the front is almost there. Uh-oh. Got a little spillage right there. I do still have a little bit of this wash mix, so I can go in and fix lines like that. It's like I never made a mistake. There we go. Let's go in on the helmet here. If it's your first time watching, thanks so much for hanging out. Feel free to drop in the chat wherever you're watching from. I always kind of like to know. This time of day, obviously people in the US, but a lot of people are also at work because I, for whatever reason, a year ago decided to start it in the middle of the day. And so we've always done it in the middle of the day. But I know I get a lot of people from London, UK, that area this time of day. I get people from all over, so I always like to kind of know. So feel free to drop that in the chat if it's your first time. Make sure you hit that like button. We hit 1,000 likes today. I think we're at like 1,012, 1,015. I'm not too sure, but we're going to be doing a free commission giveaway, so make sure you like the page. You'll be able to see all the commissions and streams and stuff that I work on Monday through Friday every day at 2 p.m. CST. Unless I got something else going on, like I'm sick or whatever, but always have a stream for you every day. So make sure you like that. You'll be able to see the contest, or not the contest. I can never figure out the right word. I'm gonna make a post where you can just talk on the post, and that's how you enter, and then that's how we'll do that giveaway. And we'll let that run for a week so everybody has an opportunity to find it, comment on it, and get entered into that. If you yourself are a painter, or you've ever thought about learning to paint, or you want to learn some new tricks or tips, if I could talk today. I haven't had enough coffee yet. Feel free to check out my Patreon. I have some stuff on there, patreon.com/minipaintingstudio. Or if you just watch my streams all the time and you want to support, I know I have a couple people like that do that as well. If you'd like a commission, I'm going to be running a special soon, so make sure you either hit the Get a Quote button on the Facebook page, or you can check out more info at minipainting.studio/pricing, and you can see all the different tiers that I have available. These are for a tabletop level commission, so the lowest level. But like I was saying earlier today, the technique that we're using on this is going to make it look nicer anyway than like standard tabletop. So I usually try and go above and beyond for people. Whether it's an entire set of miniatures or just a certain technique I'm using on some, whatever it may be. I always like to under-promise and over-deliver. And if none of that stuff interests you at all, the Patreon, getting anything painted, no big deal. Thanks for hanging out today. Glad you have time to watch. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the chat and I'll try and get an answer for you out of this confused brain of mine as I'm working. Alright, so we need to hit up this side. We're almost done with all these, all the white at least. And what I'm going to do is actually varnish these, like, immediately. As soon as the white's finished, I'm just going to do a clear coat on top of them instantly, so that way I know for a fact I'm not going to mess them up or anything. Or if I do get paint on them, I can wash it off fast. Whatever the case may be, I mean, hopefully I don't have to deal with anything like that. Just in case. So you can see what I did there. I put it on relatively thick and then I just thinned it out towards the bottom by moving it around, feathering it. Might have to go in for another layer. I was kind of strange about the way that was applied. We'll see how it dries. It may be alright. Actually, there we go. We'll just do this. We'll just help it out a little bit with one more thin coat. There you go. And then we just won't touch it again, so. Alright. Let's check this one. Not bad. I didn't know how, oh, I don't know if I should touch that yet. Yeah, it's fine. I think I'll go ahead and do the front of this shield one more time. There we go. Let that sit. I like the way this one came out. That one looks nice. So that one's fine as well. Okay, so we have one more. clean him up, and he'll be ready to rock and roll. Sorry, give me 1 second. Oh, it's getting hot in front of these lights. You're gonna hear double talking for about 2 seconds because I'm trying to make it force refresh the feed here. Alright. Okay, here we go. Alright. What's up in Brownsville, Ivan? How you doing, man? Sorry. Just making sure we're all caught up. All right, cool. As far as I can tell. Oh, there we go. How's it going, Jason? In Maine, are you freezing? Are you alive? It was in the negative temperatures here this morning. A little chilly. Alright. Let's knock this out. My back's starting to hurt. Need to take a break. One thing doing commission painting has taught me is the importance of drinking lots of water, stretching, taking frequent breaks. And breaks in terms of like, you wouldn't think painting is like necessarily mentally engaging. Sometimes it's not, but like what we're doing right now is a little bit mentally engaging just because I'm trying to manage like how much paint I'm applying, keeping it thin, letting it show shadow, things like that. So whenever I take a break, if I'm doing something really simple, I might stop and like watch a YouTube video or mess around on my phone, play a video game for like 20 minutes. Obviously, this sounds like a dream, and it really is. I'm very lucky to be able to do it full time. It is totally amazing. But sometimes I literally just have to like not look at anything and just like sit, have a conversation with Arthur the cat, things like that, and then let my eyes reset, stuff like that, so. Because yeah, recently I've been putting in about 8 hours a day at least painting. Definitely been doing it 7 days a week except for last weekend, so. But it's only because I'm really busy, which I'm thankful to be very, very busy. After I'm done with all these commissions this week, things will slow down. I'll be working on a Kingdom Death commission and an Age of Sigmar commission. And that'll be it. And they're two really big commissions, and they're both higher quality than tabletop, which is awesome. So that'll be nice because I can just kind of relax a little bit, focus on making stuff look really awesome, especially the Kingdom Death. Everything in Kingdom Death is display quality. So if you've watched the streams before with display quality stuff, you already know what you're dealing with. Gonna be doing a lot of source lighting. Everything's gonna have non-metallic metal. It's gonna be a whole barrel of painting techniques that you haven't ever seen before on the stream, so. Should be a pretty great time. And I'm just looking forward to painting the Kingdom Death stuff in general. Like, I thought about backing it. I didn't back the Kickstarter. I was like, oh, I should have backed that Kickstarter. I almost had the money to do the late backer kit, and then I had to have some very unplanned dental work done, sort of like emergency style, and that would have been the money that I spent on that Kickstarter. So missed out on that completely, but I at least have a client that wants them to look as badass as I would have painted them, so I'm looking forward to that. I always like to give my commissions, 110% effort, but it always helps when it's something I really wanted to paint, obviously. Then, after all of those are done, I have that Astra Militarum army to paint, I have a Death Guard army to paint, I have a Dark Angel army to paint, I have a Tzeentch Demon army to paint. All of those are going to be due around July, so I'm going to at least be able to space those commissions out. However, still a lot of painting to be done, so we've got all kinds of cool stuff to watch on the stream, and then, as always, I have new commissions come in all the time. And those get thrown in all over the place. So, definitely a lot of cool stuff coming up in the future. What's funny is I really want to throw pigment dust on these. Just because it would look really good. The same like pigment dust that's applied on the bases there. Or like her shield, right? I would love to throw it on their feet. But I don't think they're supposed to be dirty, so we're not going to do that. But anytime you could make something look real dusty, I love doing that. It's always fun. Good little technical trick. Oh, I'm going to sneeze here. Oh, yeah. Whew. I have sneezed before directly into one of the medicine cups full of wash, and that was a very messy lesson to learn as it went flying everywhere. How long have we been going? Right at 1:30. Cool. At least recording for an hour and 30 minutes. That means we've been streaming for like 2 hours at this point. Wow. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and stop recording.